Unacademy. Let's crack it.
Hello everyone, my name is Abhijit Ray and I have secured All India rank 50 in the Civil Service Exam 2021. Now we just had the prelims of 2022 a few days back, and since the paper has been getting more and more unpredictable, so I thought why not make a session or a video session on some high yield topics that I had done in my time, which gave me very good result because they have helped me to revise quicker and also consolidate material that because the syllabus of the prelims is very vast, and given that it's getting more unpredictable, we need to study more and more. So a little I would say organized approach may help, and this is a few high yield value addition topics that I have accumulated from my own experience. So I have some screenshots of my own notes also to give you a glimpse of how I have made notes and how you can benefit from them. So let's move forward. So a little bit about me, my educational background. I have done electrical and electronics engineering as BTech. Then my optional was anthropology. This was my 4th attempt. And my hobbies are writing poems, among other things. And my referral code is AR50, so that you can use when you see my videos on the Unacademy platform. So moving forward, yeah, so this is the crux of the next few slides that I'm going to talk about. One of the things here is the important regulatory bodies that India has and their chairman, then the prime ministers of India and the events under their tenure, then India's important agreements with other countries. I have written CA in the bracket because that means it is more current affairs related. Then tribunals of India, again a little current affairs of related. Important acts and their provisions, it's both historical that over the years whatever acts we have had, as well as current affairs related, and of course Indian export and import basket including agriculture. The thing that I wanted to point out here is that this list is not exhaustive. There are some there are a lot more lists that can be made. The point that I wanted to take back home is that from the vast syllabus of prelims, both current affairs as well as static, it's important to categorize some high yield areas, and these are some high yield areas that I believe have helped me in my preparation. So what this categorization does is before your prelims, when you revise, you are able to revise faster, and secondly it helps to retain better. So these are the small areas that I'm going to talk about. What this will help you is not only to answer questions but also to eliminate options, because prelims is getting, again, it's getting very unpredictable. So any and every help that you can get can help you in just clearing the cutoff, so to speak. So moving on, introduction of these slides is that as I was mentioning, the grouping helps you to increase coverage as well as improve retention. So and the second point I have already mentioned, that it helps you to eliminate as well as answer questions directly, and all of this is from a prelims perspective. So the first thing is important regulatory bodies of India. You see, many times in prelims it has been asked already that some important regulatory body. For example, there is this National Board of Wildlife, and there is also another body called National Tiger Conservation Authority, right? So both of these bodies are chaired by different people. The NBWL is chaired by the Prime Minister, and the NTCA is chaired by the Minister of Environment and Forests. So what I had done is I had created list of important bodies that I came across in the current affairs as well as some in the static portion, and I wrote who is the chairman. For example, National Health Authority, which basically looks after the implementation of the Ayushman Bharat. So that is headed by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, then Minister, and then SERB is a statutory body. I am not sure who heads it because I couldn't find it. Then Central Zoo Authority. This is a very not very heard of body, but again, it's a statutory body under Wildlife Protection Act. So the point I'm trying to make here is, if you keep adding to this list of different bodies, then you're going to see that you have a organized way of referring to your notes. Because what I'm going to do before my prelims, or what I used to do, is that I'm going to go back here and revise this. And this is a long page also. This is again not exhaustive. I just want you to take back home the approach that you can list the bodies, their prime ministers, their chairman, as well as some quick points about it. For example, this one, it's a statutory body. And I was very pleasantly surprised to see that this 2022 prelims paper, it was asked that which of the bodies is under which body is under, which is a statutory body among these regulatory bodies, or which is under the Wildlife Protection Act. So such listing of bodies can help you to eliminate answers. Because you see, even a small help of indirect elimination, that can help you to come to the correct option, and that can probably make the difference between your correct and incorrect, I mean passing or failing prelims. It happened with me in my third attempt. I barely passed prelims with around only 0.7 marks more than the cutoff. So it was because of tricks like this that somehow I managed. Because it doesn't matter how much above cutoff you get. It just matters that you clear the prelims, right? Because it doesn't make any difference. So again, CAMPA is there. Just take back home the idea of categorizing things. So again, this part is not very clear, but what I've written is Prime Minister as the head, and which are the bodies that are headed by the Prime Minister. For example, the National Biofuel Coordination Committee, which is the implementing body for the National Biofuel Policy, that is headed by the Prime Minister. It's a very, let's say, very not so well-known fact. Then you have the National Commission on Population Control, and all of these. So again, try to understand that listing such things helps you revise faster, and you sort of get a bird's eye view of what is happening. Okay, the next one is, yeah, this is again very interesting. So the Prime Ministers of India and the major events. So this strictly is not part of the heading that I've mentioned, but I have just put it here to show you that sometimes questions are asked about the different bodies, international bodies. For example, G7, G20. Like G20 was formed after the economic crisis of 1999. G7 was formed after 1973 oil crisis, where countries thought that they should come together and have some mechanism of assurance, of mutual assurance. And then there is these other bodies also, the years they were formed. You see, again, they're never going to ask you which year this was formed or anything directly, but being aware that this was formed in 1973, and let's say okay, let's say G20 was formed in 1999, and SARC was formed in 1985. This knowledge that G20 was much later formed body can help you eliminate some option, or it will strike a it will strike a conflict in your mind that, okay, this seems a very extreme option or something like that. That intuition also can help you solve the answer. So again and again, I'm trying to tell you that take back home the approach. Don't take back home these exact things. I mean, these are factually correct, but you can keep adding to these. In the same way, the Prime Ministers of India and their major events, right? So here I have talked about the different bodies that were formed. For example, different acts and bodies. For example, the North-East Council, the National Security Act, NABARD Act, coal mine nationalization. Ramsar was founded in the tenure of Indira Gandhi. The Ramsar Convention, which for the wetland conservation, especially also these important acts. So again, take back home the approach and the concept that if you do it in this format, then you'll be able to cover a lot in a very small amount of time, and it also gives you a bird's eye view and helps you to correlate between different things. This is very interesting. It will help you to eliminate options very well. So yeah, that was one. And then moving on. So, okay, another thing that I found is quite interesting or asked quite often is, in the last 1.5 years preceding the prelims, whatever agreements India has had with important countries. For example, this time Norway was in the news because Prime Minister of India visited Norway, right? So India has a green strategic partnership with Norway. That's one point that can be added here. So what here I had done is these are the various agreements and memorandums. I mean, not all of them need to be studied, but whatever is featuring in the current affairs that you read. So the idea should be that okay, any agreement that features in current affairs, I'm going to come to this section of my notes, and I'm going to keep adding one more list here, and then I'm going to mention the country, because all of these are India and the other countries. So the same goes for the other previous slides that I showed you. So again, take back home the approach of doing that. Trust me, it will really save a lot of your time, and it will be very useful for you before your prelims. Just before your prelims, the last or second last revision that you do, when stress is at its maximum, uncertainty is at its maximum, these are the things that soothed my mind, saying that okay, my approach is good. I am able to remember things that I think are high yield topics, and so I could do well in prelims, and I went to the exam with confidence. And confidence, trust me, is very important in an exam like prelims, even if it is a little bit of I would say misplaced confidence, but confidence nonetheless. I mean, you work hard, have the at your back of your mind that it is an unpredictable exam, but be sure in your mind that you have done whatever you could have done, and these are the ways where that thing of what you could have done can be improved. I believe so, in my humble opinion. This worked for me, may work for you, so it's something that you can try, especially for new aspirants. Also, another high yield part, which is again based on current affairs, is tribunals of India. We have seen that it has been asked in the prelims many times, that important tribunals, whether it exists or not. For example, intellectual property appellate board was asked whether it even exists or not. Now it has been abolished, I think, but previously it existed. So this is not the most current one, but again, like I've said for the other slides also, take back home the approach that whenever I read about any tribunal, I will come here and I'm going to put it in here. So what I've done here is these are different bodies or acts, and these are the appellate bodies that are available here. All of these are tribunals, and I was pleasantly surprised to see. So in my prelims attempt, in one of my attempts, this had come that the PNGRB's appeals are done by the Electricity Tribunal. Now, no, if you don't know, then you'll not be able to guess that Electricity Tribunal does petroleum and natural gas regulatory boards appeals, right? So this is again, I feel, something very effective, which will help you consolidate your learnings in the last few days. If you keep doing this right from the start, by the time you come to prelims, you're going to have a very good composition of such high yield topics. You can read about all the other ones here as well. So I'm just going to go a little side and let you have a view of this. So for example, the Director General of Hydrocarbons, there is no tribunal that exists in India today. You just double check this, but in my time, I think this is 1 year old, which is accurate, that there was no tribunal for here. So it can come in the prelims, even for National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, which sort of decides the prices of essential medicines, right? There is no tribunal available. So that's a very catchy information that may be asked. Or again, these things may not help you directly answer questions, but definitely can help you to eliminate options. So take back again home the approach. Yeah, this is very important. Famous acts and their provisions. I have pasted here the screenshot of my notes for the National Food Security Act. This you have to work very hard, because there are some famous acts. For example, the National Food Security Act, Wildlife Protection Act, Biodiversity Act. For example, Biodiversity Act has something called Biodiversity Heritage Authorities. So whether village panchayat is involved in that or not, who decides the biodiversity heritage sites, what are the criteria, or I don't know, I don't remember exactly, but what I'm trying to say is, okay, let's see this Food Security Act. So what I've written is, it was introduced in these years. So UPSC has this knack of asking some strange data-based questions, right, for important acts. It had asked for this one, the Maternity Benefit Act. Once it may ask for POSH. Do you know that POSH appellate body has to be formed if there are more than 10 employees, or I think it is 15 employees now. There is a specific number of employees beyond which, if there is an organization, then they are mandated to form a POSH committee, internal investigation committee in their offices. So yeah, coming back to the National Food Security Act, these figures sometimes become important, that 75% rural households, 50% urban households will be covered. Pregnant and lactating women will be given 6,000 rupees plus free food. It can be asked that, is free food provided for pregnant lactating women? Maternity benefit of 6,000 or more. Children from 6 to 14 are given free meals. Then yeah, two categories of benefits. One is 35 kg, one is 5 kg, priority versus Antodaya. I mean, these are small nitty-gritty things, but this becomes important for such acts which are again important. And I would be covering this in detail in the Unacademy platform classes, but here is just a glimpse of how the note making can be done and can be effectively improved. So coming back to the continuation of the National Food Security Act, yeah, so again, this is again something very interesting, that the duties of implementing the act are divided between the center and the states. The center is supposed to allocate grains to the states, transportation cost it is going to bear, but states are supposed to identify the households. I mean, you understand that this is the detail to which you need to know, and questions can be asked. These are very important. This is a very important act from India's social welfare perspective, because food insecurity is something which is a burning topic in India. We all know that, right? Um, yeah, so exports from public stock is against WTO is just one fact that came across in while preparing these notes, and I have just highlighted it because it seemed important and unconventional. So UPSC has a knack of asking unconventional things, right? So yeah, okay. So yeah, you understand the basic point that I'm trying to make here, that you list the important acts that you come across frequently, and you work very hard to create such detailed points of these, and keep revising it, because otherwise you will not be able to do it in the last moment. So yeah, I know that this is a little too much, but prelims is getting like that only, friends. I mean, uh, you cannot be sure that whether you'll be able to clear prelims or not. A very inspirational story of Harkirat, who got All India rank 10 this time, right, in my batch. He failed in prelims in his 5th attempt after clearing prelims twice in his 3rd and 4th attempt. So in 6th attempt, finally he got All India rank 10. So never ever take prelims for granted and work very hard for it. Also mains also you have to work very hard, but prelims is something which is very unpredictable, more unpredictable than mains is, in my opinion. So another high yield topic is export and import basket of India, from the perspective of which is the maximum. For exports is always petroleum products, which is the maximum. This may not be an updated list, but in the Ministry of Commerce you can easily come across the descending order or ascending order of by value or by volume export and import also. This will again, these are things that are asked. This was asked in, something similar was asked in all the 4 attempts that I gave in prelims. And organizing things in this way, finding out which are the hot topics or hot headings, and trying to like put whatever information you get throughout your huge current affairs or static portion study and putting them under those headings, that can really help you. I would suggest all aspirants to try this once and see if it works for you. I am pretty sure you will get a little benefit out of it, but don't take my word for granted, but do give it a try. I would really love if any of you can get benefit out of it and can have a more confident, let's say, preparation. So yeah, so in conclusion, I would like to say that again, the above lists are indicative and they are not at all exhaustive, because I have just done some glimpses of what of the lists or high yield areas that I made. I'm going to cover this in more detail when we do the Unacademy platform classes. For example, I had also added list for recent waste management rules, the plastic waste management, biomedical waste management, all the other ones I forgot. So there are some values there, like in biomedical waste management rules doesn't apply to some particular type of waste. Plastic waste management rules doesn't apply to some particular category of wastes. Uh, Plastic waste rules, plastic waste should be, or say municipal solid waste should be categorized at the source into certain number of categories. So these are unconventional things which people tend to miss. Now the unfortunate fact is even UPSC knows that people tend to miss that, and that's why they will ask you on these things. They may not ask you any of it, any of whatever we are discussing. It may so happen, but then I mean, that's not something that's in your hand, right? What is in your hand is that whenever you come across current affairs or static topics which fall under any of the high yield topics that you have created, you just categorize it under that. So this is a very unique approach that I had taken. I'm sure many other people who have succeeded would have taken some similar approach, but I have found it to be very effective, and so it became my duty to share this with aspirants, because I know how unpredictable prelims is getting, and I really want all of you to do very well. I just want to conclude. I think this is the last slide. Yes, so yeah, the usual, please do like and subscribe and share, and thank you very much. But I would like to end by honestly telling you that look, prelims is a difficult exam. We all face uncertainties. I don't know how well I would have done if I had to give prelims this time. And this entire exam is so uncertain that after my interview, which was on 11th of May 2022, I came back home and I had started preparing for the prelims again. It's not that people who top or do well in the exam do not suffer from uncertainty. Everyone is a human being. So please don't lose hope. The people who have done moderately well in prelims this time are getting around 75 to 85 or more, should start preparation right now for mains. Don't wait for the results, because you see, the effort that you make right now in this mains attempt would anyways be useful even if you don't clear prelims this time. So don't waste time, start preparation. There is no other way. You have to work very hard. You have to deal with this uncertainty. Everyone dealt with it. Rank 1 dealt with it. Rank 685 would also have dealt with it. Everyone deals with it. It's a human thing to feel afraid, to feel that the imposter syndrome. We all have it. Even I have had it. I have had days when I felt that I'm not going to get anywhere with the level of preparation that I had. I have made a lot of mistakes also. This was my 4th attempt, and the first 2 attempts I could not clear prelims because I did not do it in the way that I have talked about here. I just had a very haphazard approach, and what that created a problem for me was that when it came to consolidation of the information before the prelims, right, I did not have a clue of what to study from where, because you see, if you try this, you'll see that when you categorize or study one type of thing together, then the retention becomes better, and you are able to link it also, and because you have a bird's eye view of topics. So that was it from my side about this video. I would really like if any of you feel benefited from this, please comment in the comment section also. And thank you very much, and all the very best for your mains, all the very best for your next prelims, all the very best for your approach in this exam or in any other exam or in anything that you may do in life. May you find success. Thank you very much.